Hello, all my beautiful, amazing, dope ass souls out there. It's your girl, Tina Marie J. Welcome to my channel. So, today, this is gonna be all about raising a family after leaving Christianity. So, this is all my own personal experience. I don't want you to take it as I'm telling you that this is the go-to of how you have to do it or how you have to go about things, because your parenting style is different from my parenting style. Everyone is different. But this is my personal choice in how I choose to raise my kids with my husband, and everyone has their own way, and you have to really just try to find what works for you, what's best for you. And it could be really tricky because after you leave Christianity, and you, especially if you already was going to church with your family, like if you were in church and you were raising your kids to be Bible based, it could be kind of tricky trying to figure out a maneuver, like, okay, what do we do? Like, what do I tell my kids now? How do we raise our kids now? All these things, it could be a little bit tricky. So before I start, first, if you guys are not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Tina Marie _J. I have that right there below on the screen. Also, if you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't be shy. Go ahead and share the video as well if you feel like you know anyone that could find use from it or any of my videos. And also, feel free to subscribe for more content if you have recently left religion or if you're just navigating through life after leaving religion, especially Christianity. That's something I speak on the most because that's my own personal experience. All right, so I'm gonna get started. So let's see. I have left Christianity 5 years ago, and next year makes 6 years. This 2022 will make 6 years since I've left Christianity. And when I was going to church, I brought my kids with me. I was raising my kids to go to church too. And at the time, my husband was also going to church. So we were all just like, I guess, like a born again Christian family. I was raised in Christianity. My husband was not. So that's like the only difference. He didn't grow up going to church, reading the Bible, he grew up with morals, but, not the Bible based, like everything that's in the Bible, this is set in stone. This is how you live your life. And I was. So I always knew that when I had a family one day that I was going to most likely raise my family to believe in the Bible, to believe in Jesus, to believe in God, period. It was just kind of something that was instilled in me from basically birth. I was not given an option as to what I was allowed to believe in or what I could believe in. And I don't really put it on my mom in a negative way because you know what? My mom didn't know. My mom was really only trying to help. She was only trying to do what she knew best. And my dad was a pastor. And even though my parents were not together, they both felt it was important that they raised me to be Christian, to be Bible-based. And I passed that along. So 5 years ago, when I decided to leave, I left first. My husband was still a Christian, and that did cause a lot of conflict in our marriage. It was a lot, mainly because of the fact that he wanted to raise our kids Christian, and he felt like in order for us to do that, I needed to also be a part of that plan. I never once said, hey, you know what? I'm not a Christian anymore. Now my kids can't be Christian. They can't learn about God, Jesus, the Bible. I never once said that. I feel like it's important. I'm sorry. I feel like it's important that we allow other people to grow and to believe and to follow and to express their beliefs as they feel is fit for them. So I was not going to get in the way of my husband trying to raise our girls in the church. So I did go to church here and there with them, but I didn't go every Sunday. And that was when I very first was transitioning out of Christianity. And it was really difficult because as a mom and a wife, you kind of feel like you gotta kind of follow the lead of your husband sometimes, and you gotta help keep your family together. And without religion or without like any kind of a faith at all, you kind of start feeling like, damn, Like, what am I going to do now? Because how am I going to raise my kids to be Christian if I myself am not a Christian? So I was really conflicted at that moment when I had first transitioned out. And it caused a lot of problems, but like in my life and my relationship, it caused a lot of issues. But it was something I was able to get through. And I honestly believe that if that's something you're going through, I believe you could get through it as well. And it may not be the same kind of outcome as me. Like, my husband ended up leaving a couple years later. He ended up leaving Christianity as well. And me and him kind of got on the same page with like spirituality and what we believe in. And our beliefs are still a tiny bit different. But I mean, well, we have pretty much basically the same beliefs, but there are certain things that he sees a tiny bit different when it comes to the Bible and stuff than what I do. But it's not like anything that like caused any kind of issue. So now today we're on the same page when it comes to raising our kids. But the way that I had wanted when he was still a Christian and I was not a Christian, the way I wanted to raise my kids was I wanted to be able to instill in them morals, good values, period. I didn't want it to be based off of a belief system. I didn't want it to be based off of any kind of a religion. I didn't want it to be based off of the Bible and that's it. Like, this is it. This is set in stone. This is what it has to be. I didn't want it like that because that's not how I felt it was for me. And I didn't want my kids to grow up and not feel like they had a choice. Like they didn't have a choice. I wanted them to grow up, and I still to this day want my kids to grow up. And when they become adults, I want them to know, like, I have a choice. I have a choice. I can follow what I believe, and, you know, I can express my own personal beliefs, and that's my choice because that's something I chose. I didn't want to force my kids to get baptized because I think they need to be baptized. I didn't want to force my kids to go to Sunday school anymore. And it's funny because after me and my husband got on the same page and we like completely both stopped going to church and we just kind of fell into some sort of a normalcy that for us, not saying it was normal in general for anyone, but for us, a normalcy that worked for us and our family, I realized, well, I didn't even know my kids actually admitted to me that they hated going to church because they felt like it was boring. And I mean, honestly, what kid likes going to church? There are some kids that might like it if their Sunday school is real fun, but my kids wasn't a huge fan of Sunday school and going to church and waking up early to go to church. I remember there were days that, you know, sometimes they'd be like, can we just not go today? And I'd be like, no, we have to go, because I felt like deep down, after a while, I didn't want to go neither, but I felt like this is kind of what we have to do. It's a Sunday. Like, this is what you do. You wake up and you give your day to God and you go and you worship and you pray and you know, and fellowship and all that stuff, all that Christian stuff that you do. Like, that's what you do. And so I was trying to keep it together until I couldn't keep it together anymore for myself. I did kind of go through a period, a little short period where I kind of felt like, well, if I'm not going to church anymore, if I'm not a Christian anymore, then how am I going to teach my kids? And then it hit me. I was like, well, duh, obviously. I mean, I'm not psycho. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, just because I'm not a Christian. And yeah, some people may consider me a heathen or a sinner or whatever, but I'm not crazy. I'm not gonna teach my kids, okay, now you go out into the world and you just screw it all up. You go ahead and you just make an entire shit show. Like, no, I was like, okay, I feel that I can still teach them good values and morals and love and respect and compassion. Because to me, that is such a huge thing. Like, I speak about it a lot. I think it's important that we have and we show other people how to have love, compassion, respect, because then that's how that creates more peace. And honestly, the world is like so crappy as is. So I felt I could teach them that without having to be labeled a Christian and we have to go to church and we have to read the Bible. I have the one day, this was probably like maybe 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I'll say like 3 years ago. My oldest daughter, at the time, she was probably like 14. 13, 14 years old. She just turned 16. Oh, I can't believe how big they get. And my other one is about to be 13 on Friday. But at the time, she was probably around 13, and she had asked me, I can't remember what she asked me. It was something about in the Bible. But she read something, and she was like watching some videos and online about the Bible, and like how there are a lot of Christians that don't like gay people. And she's like, how come, why does the Bible say, like, you know, basically against gay people? And so we started talking a little bit, and she started asking me all these questions. And she's like, I don't understand why God would want to send anyone to hell. Like, if you love your child, why would you send them somewhere evil and horrible just because they didn't do everything you wanted? Would you send me to hell? And I'm just like, she was asking really good, legit questions. And I realized at that time, I was like, you know what? When I was in Christianity, this would have been taboo. I mean, there are Christians who do allow and accept and embrace questioning, but the type of question she was asking, it was like all about like parts in the Bible that she was like reading through, and she was curious, and she was just like, this doesn't sound right. And like parts in the Old Testament of all the evil acts that were done. And she just was like, that's real messed up. I don't understand why God would do that. So I realized, like, you know what? I need to be honest with her, and I need to be careful with what I say, because I'm not trying to paint Christianity or religion at all as this horrible bad thing. Because yes, there are people who leave Christianity and they start to see religion and Christianity as like, they become anti-religious, and they're just like, nope, nope, nope. Religion is bad. Religion's a cult. Christianity is bad. Christianity is a cult. And I'm not like that, because I feel like, you know, like everybody's different. Everybody likes what they like. Everybody follows what they follow. Everybody believes what they believe. So for me to say that would be wrong. And also, I don't necessarily feel religion is really all that bad. I think people make it bad, but I think the whole point of it wasn't meant to be bad. I mean, well, I don't think that God, or if Jesus is a real person, even was trying to that the intentions were for Christianity to be this way. I think this is really a lot man-made. So I don't see it as like, if you're a Christian or you're a part of religion, boom, you're not good, you're bad, or you're doing a bad thing. I don't see it like that at all. I think it is important that we have something that we can lean on, some sort of faith, some sort of belief in something, or even just a belief of hope. And if you're atheist, then it's like, fine, just at least have belief of like hope, believe that things could change. You know, I think that that's important. So that's what I teach my kids. I teach my kids that no matter what you believe in, no matter what you choose to follow when you grow up, you may change your mind. You may decide you want to go to church, or you may decide you want to like convert to being a Muslim. I mean, whatever you choose, as long as it's something that's what you want, and it's not something that's forced upon you. It's not something that someone told you have to do this. It's something you specifically wanted. As long as it's something that you do in love and you don't change who you are. I mean, it's all right to grow and evolve, because we all have to grow and evolve, and we have to change for the better. But as long as you know that not everyone's going to believe what you believe in, not everyone's going to think the way you think, not everyone's going to agree with what you say or what you feel. And that's okay. You have to accept that. And I chose to raise my kids with morals and values that say, hey, we're all different, and we're all just trying to figure it out. And at the end of the day, my kids, this is their life, and they're young, yes, but I do not believe in forcing religion upon kids at all. I think it does more harm than it does good at the end. And I can say that as someone who grew up going to church, and it became more evident in my teen years that I was kind of like, I don't know, they would call me rebellious. I just would kind of I just always ended up veering off towards my own direction, doing my own thing, because I've never really been a follower. I've never really been someone who wants to follow what people tell me, or what people say, like, this is what you should do, boom, follow us. Like, I've never really been that way. So I've always, as I got older, teenagers, they change, they grow, they start to have their own mind, their own thinking. And there's only but so much you could do to control that as parents. Like, you cannot control your kids at all, because the more you try to control, the more control you're going to lose. You have to allow them to express themselves, but make sure they have proper guidelines to follow. Make sure they understand that there has to be boundaries. And of course, don't let them be loose cannons. I mean, there are parents out there that I'm just like, please just remove her ovaries and take away his entire reproductive system, because you shouldn't be parents. There are people like that. But then, I do feel like, as for me personally, as a mom, it's important that I allow my kids to grow the way they grow, and not try to direct every single thing and control everything. Because when I was a teenager, I started doing my own thing, because I felt like I was always kind of like controlled in a way, or like, I mean, my mom wasn't controlling, but she was a little strict, like I couldn't wear hoop earrings until I was like 18. So I would go to school with my hoops in my bag, and they weren't even huge like the ones I wear now. Though they were big, but not ginormous. And I would just put them on. I didn't see a big deal, My mom would just like, she would consider certain things I would do as like, almost like it was bad. Like if I dressed a certain way, even though it wasn't inappropriate. I was learning my own style, learning myself, but I always kind of felt as a teenager like I couldn't be me. And so because I felt I couldn't be me and express myself, because as a teen, you're starting to learn who you are. I mean, you're kind of trying to figure out, I felt like, well, maybe I'll just have to hide it then. And as I became a liar and I started lying, I would lie about stupid stuff though. Like I'll lie about where I was. Why did I take so long to get home? Oh, the train took forever. Oh, I got stuck on 125th Street and the train took forever, to come. Or, oh, I had to take 2 buses and then 3 trains to get home because I came from my friend's house. And then after that, we went to this place. And like, I just had so many lies. And really, I was just hanging out. And I wasn't really hanging out with a bad crowd. Actually, my friends were actually pretty decent people, but I just wanted to kind of live a little bit, and so I became a little more loose, and that's how I ended up getting pregnant at a young age. And that was on me. It wasn't my mom's fault. But my whole point of that is that controlling your kids and trying to force them to believe in something is going to backfire on you if that is not who they are to begin with. Like if that's not what they want, it's going to show and it's going to backfire. I'm not saying that if you are a Christian that you shouldn't take your kids to church or you shouldn't take your teen to church. I'm not saying that at all, because I do feel like there was positives to me being raised in Christianity. There was a lot of positives. I don't really speak on it, but there was a lot of positives. Like I grew up with very good morals and values and, with respecting people and loving people and just being myself. But I also was kind of, I don't really want to use the word forced. I felt like a lot of times, like my parents just wanted me to be like, okay, we're raising her a Christian and this is what she's going to be forever. Like even recently, the other day, my mom was like, actually not the other day, a couple months ago, I was going through a lot of stuff in my relationship. And my mom was like, you guys got to find a church. You guys just got to go back to church. And I was just like, I didn't want to say no, because I still don't, of all the people on this entire earth, my mom's probably the only one who I'll never actually come out and say, Ma, I'm not a Christian. I literally don't believe I'm now spiritual. I probably will take that to the grave. Like I probably will never tell her that. Or maybe I will one day, but I don't know. If she was to ask me, I'm not going to lie. But funny thing, my mom never asked me, but she knows that I don't go to church anymore. So my response was, yeah. But in reality, I just don't feel like that's the answer for me, because I always thought that was an answer, and that's what I did for a long time. And it didn't, after a while, it just didn't work out. And I have found my own way of being able to heal and my own way of being able to connect with whatever higher being or purpose there is, without going to church and saying, I'm a Christian, so I have to follow this, and that. I've always kind of felt like, because I was raised in it, like I had to be a certain way. Almost like, not really perfect, but like I just never really felt like being me was enough. And you want to be careful that, you don't raise your kids to feel like being themselves is just not ever going to be enough. So if you have left Christianity and you're raising your kids, I would say find what works for you. I can't tell you what to do. All I can say and all that I will say is definitely try to raise them with good morals, and know that people who leave Christianity still have morals. A lot of people think that we don't. I honestly was a Christian who thought that. I used to think, well, if you're not a Christian, like, what are your morals? I would hear someone say, throw an F-bomb or the S word around, and I'll be like, oh my God, they don't have any morals. They have no values. Like, no, my mouth, I'm a truck driver. I've always had a dirty mouth. And then when I started going to church again, I stopped for years. And I picked back up on it just because it feels good to express myself when I use curse words, because they can mean anything. I could use it in a negative way. I could use it in a positive way. I express my frustration without having to hit anybody. It works for me. I don't do it around my kids. My kids know I curse. Come on, my kids are teenagers. They know. But I don't just like carry a conversation, just curse. But that's just an example of like, me and my dirty mouth does not define who I am. And when you leave Christianity, people who are still in Christianity, a lot of them are going to try to tell you that whatever you do, how you dress, like I've been told about how I dress defines me all of a sudden, or how you speak defines you, or, the fact that, I don't know, like the fact that you don't go to church, or the fact that you're an atheist defines you because you don't believe in a God at all. And now that defines you. And that's what people will tell you. But it's up to you to really like learn who you are, know who you are, figure out yourself, allow yourself to go through the process, allow yourself to take time going through it. And then from there, you decide and you get to choose and you get to say who the hell you are. No one could tell you who you are, And when it comes to raising your kids, no one can tell you after you leave Christianity how to raise your kids. So no, my kids don't read the Bible. Am I going to stop them from reading it? No, if they want to read it, they can read it. I tell my kids you can read it. I mean, my kids, they're not huge readers. My oldest daughter is like, oh, the Bible's just way too long. But I'm like, no, you can read it. You don't have to read it from beginning to end. You could just read wherever you want. But I do allow my kids, if they wanted to, they could read the Bible. I think I probably got like one still in my house somewhere. And I forgot what I was going to say. My brain just like went on shutdown mode real quick. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, my kids. So yes, I will allow my kids to read the Bible if that's what they choose. If my kids one day was to tell me they want to go to church, sure. Just don't expect your mom to suddenly start going. You guys could go, when they get older, if they decide that that's the direction they want to go to church. I mean, I guess deep down, I'm not going to lie, I don't want my kids to join any religion that's going to close them in to where they're going to be shut off from the outside world, or they're going to be shut off from accepting or embracing other people's perspectives. Because that's one huge thing I learned after leaving Christianity. We all have very different perspectives and different takes on life. And the problem is way too many of us think, and I'll put myself in this too, because I've thought like this too, until I had to catch myself and realize that we can't think that just because we see something a certain way, if someone else doesn't see it our way, that they're wrong and we're right and they're no good. Because that's like, I mean, that's to think like that, we really don't realize we think like that, but majority of us do, especially those in religion. If you don't believe in this, then you're wrong, and even though some people may not treat you wrong, but little comments you may hear someone make may make you feel less than. Like I've had people say to me, oh, well, you just need to repent and be saved. And to me, I take it disrespectful, especially after I already said I don't subscribe to religion. So to tell me I need to be saved is like basically telling me I'm lost, which I don't feel lost. I actually feel pretty fucking found right now. Okay, so look, speaking of that, I have some new quotes that they're printable wall arts. You print them out. I have them up for sale. So make sure you go and check in the description box. I love them. I'm so excited to print. I need some new ink for my printer, but I'm going to print them out and put them on my wall and create like my own little collage of all my own stuff. And I actually have a quote. Shoot, let me see if I could actually, well, no. If you guys go check it out and see, but I have one where I have like a quote where I say something like, I'm not lost, I don't need to be found, something like that, along those lines, blah, blah, blah. And that is something that really resonates with me, because when I left Christianity, I had a lot of people telling me I was lost and that I would steer my kids in the wrong direction and they'll be lost too. And then one day I saw a car with a bumper sticker that said, not all those who wander are lost. And then that was like, it literally hit me like a light bulb went off. I was like, oh crap, that's so freaking true. Because I'm just wandering, but that doesn't make me bad. That doesn't make me a bad person. That doesn't mean I'm going in a horrible direction. Sometimes you can wander in the wrong direction, yes. But if you find yourself right now wandering and you feel like you're alone and you feel like no one supports you, no one gets you, I get you. I support you. And I know exactly how it feels, especially as a parent. You've got this. You can freaking do this. Just try to do what you can as a parent, because as a parent, we're never going to get everything right. It's impossible. We're just never going to get everything right as a parent. But you do what you can. You set the boundaries, you set the guidelines, and you try to raise your kids the best way you can. But just know they're going to turn into adults and they're going to make their own adult decision. And you cannot stop that. And the other people that have any comments about it, that want to have anything to say about how you choose to raise your kids, the fact you're not bringing your kids to church anymore, the fact that you're not instilling these religious values, you can instill good values in them, but you're not instilling the religious values anymore. People are going to talk. Let them talk. That's something that you have to choose for yourself. You have to decide how that's going to work for you. So that is all. Make sure you do check out my new store. My new store, I'm actually going to have multiple things on there, so you can also follow it. I'm going to have the link below that you could click on to follow, so you'll get updates anytime I post anything on there, like anything at all that I create that is digital or whatever. So make sure you're following me there. And make sure you are following me on Instagram, TinaMarie_J. If you need any kind of mentorship, I do coaching. My first call is 30 minutes. It's a free consultation. I know a lot of people kind of like email me and are like, oh, can I share my story and get advice from you? Here's my number. I'm no disrespect at all, but I don't do that. I don't just randomly get on the phone and just talk to people and give advice, just because of the fact that, number one, I have a very tight schedule. Like, I do a lot in my time. I barely watch TV. I'm constantly on my laptop working on something. I'm working on my course. I have a lot going on. Also, I have a lot of content here that has a ton of advice. And if you would like to get any advice from me and actually want a coaching call that is one-on-one, then you could book with me. That is also down below. That's the only time I'll actually get on the phone and talk to you, is if we're doing your first free consultation or if it's a one-on-one call. So I hope you guys can respect that and understand that. And I do charge for my coaching call, because time is money, and we have to like normalize the fact that time is money. All right. So other than that, you can send me an email. I'm not going to ignore your email or your DM, like if you want to shoot me a DM or an email, Definitely, I love when you guys reach out to me. Definitely do that. Also, every Friday I do my Cult Friday videos. I think I'm gonna start making these live. So it's not, I know I have here posted ICOC Cult Friday. It's not always gonna be about the ICOC. Just cults in general. If you have left a religious cult, like I was a part of a religious cult for 7 years, then make sure you do check that out every Friday Eastern, 6 p.m. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So if you did like this video, please do press a thumbs up, share it, and also subscribe. And also, if you have left a cult, I do have a Beautiful Souls Recovery Facebook group for anyone who's left any cult. It does not have to be the ICOC cult. It could be any cult at all. But please, for the love of God, just I have 2 questions in there for you guys to answer, because that helps me to filter out any trolls, because I've had an incident before, and it also helps me to know like what your needs are. And I hate it when people request to join the Facebook group but don't answer the questions, because then you just don't get accepted, because I don't know who you are. And that's respectfully, I'm just saying, just please, like, you can just put a 1 sentence, it doesn't matter. But that is pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing, for new subscribers, and for those of you who have been reaching out to me. I appreciate you guys, and I love you guys all so much. I hope you do enjoy your day.